Mr. Secretary, are you going to ask G7 to help with the Strait of Hormuz?
Well, it's in their interest to help.
Okay, this is Marco Rubio, the U.S. Secretary of State. He was interviewed, in respect to what is ongoing between America and Europe, because America sought for help and Europe backed off, and America is not finding it funny. They're really not finding it funny at all. Let's see what Rubio has to say.
Other countries get far more of their fuel from there than we do.
So what kind of help are you going to ask? Minesweepers, naval help?
Well, those specifics I'll leave it to the Department of War as to exactly what, but it's in their interest. It's in their national interest.
Do you think President Trump criticizing NATO this morning, that sentiment?
I think he just made an observation, and the observation is that the United States is constantly being asked to help in a war, and we have more than any other country in the world, on a war that's happening in another continent, in Ukraine. But when the U.S. had a need, he didn't get proper positive responses. So right now he's just making the observation that, I think there was a couple of the leaders in Europe who said that this was not Europe's war. Well, Ukraine is not America's war, and yet we can.
Wow. Europe said it's not their war. Is it that they are not aware of what is going on in the Middle East? Is it that they are not aware? Is it that they are blind to it? Because the very first day of the war, okay, just imagine the very first day of the war, what happened? When Iran was attacked, Iran began to attack their Muslim country. They began to attack their Muslim country in the name of, destabilizing the American base in those countries, attacking their brothers, their brothers' economic infrastructures. Are you saying that it is not your war, whereas you see what is going on in Europe? You see what is going on in Europe, in Switzerland, Sweden. You see the things that are going on where the Islam are trying to, in Germany as well, they are claiming to take over your country. And they are radical Muslims. They are really radical Muslims. And you say it does not concern you. It may not concern you now, but it's going to concern you later in the future. By then, you also seek for help. The fact that you are relaxed now does not mean that you will not look for help in the future. And when you look for that help, because you did not help your allies, they will not be able to come for your aid.
And you know that because why did they shoot all these countries that weren't even really involved with them? They weren't involved. They had no big problems because they're sick, because they wanted
Trump is really angry. Trump is really angry, really angry, really angry.
Take over the Middle East, not just Israel. Certainly Israel would have been the first on their list. They would have used nuclear weapons, you don't need too many of them. But they would have used a nuclear weapon on Israel, and they would have used it on the neighbors. And
yeah, what Trump is saying is true. What Trump is saying is true, because if you could remember those times that the Ayatollahs, the first Ayatollah was alive, remember you would hear the Iranian Islamists shouting or chanting, "Death to Israel, death to Israel, death to USA, death to America." To tell you that they have calculated, they actually have plans. And check, the Middle East is actually a region on its own, and they are also they are fighting to, the Iranian regime, they are fighting to be the strongest in that region. Do you understand? They are fighting to be strongest in that region. So knowing fully well that Israel is backed by America, and looking at it, you see that Israel, they are very strong in that region. They want to bring down Israel so that they can rule over that region. And the problem between Iran and Israel is way back. Is actually way back, But if you check history very well, you realize that Iran and Israel has been a good ally. But after the regime took over, and Israel gaining independence in that land, it became a problem. It became a problem, where you see that the Iranian regime are backing Hamas in trying to deal with Israel. That is called proxy war, where Iran plays by proxy. You understand? They use neighboring countries to deal with Israel. So you see, what Trump is saying is true, because if these people are attacked, if they are attacked, they are going to attack Europe and America, because these guys are building. Actually, they built long-range missile. Why the long range? Because they have plan for other countries, far countries, you see.
They would have come after us. And if we had a weak president, they would have done great damage. But fortunately, you don't have a weak president. I knew what was happening. And I think we've been proven right. They took one missile, went 2,500 miles. They supposedly didn't have a missile like that. They had no missile with that capability. But they shot the now famous Ireland, the island that the UK was very afraid to give us, because they didn't want to get dragged in. But we don't want to get dragged into their wars either. One thing, we're very disappointed, I'll say it publicly, we're very disappointed with NATO, because NATO has done absolutely nothing. And I've always said, 25 years ago, I was somebody that wasn't...
You see, this thing Trump is saying, if you can check it very well, realize that Trump is not happy. And America would definitely remember, yes. If you check, you realize that US has funded NATO. They have funded NATO so much than any other country that is in NATO. They have funded, they are the big boys in NATO. So, and that Europe fears Russia. They are so much afraid of Russia. So much. If you could remember USSR, that was broken into pieces, that actually reduced the strength of Russia. Now we have NATO. You think that Russia, they don't remember as well? You think they don't remember? You think the fact that you scattered USSR, you disseminated everything and all that, making their brothers, some of their brothers they are in NATO. You think they are happy about it? They know the danger of NATO. They know, and that is why you see the war that broke out in Ukraine was as a result of NATO issue, because Ukraine wanted to join NATO, but Russia, Putin said no, because it's going to give NATO, this there will be close boundaries. So Russia doesn't want where NATO spies on their land. So Russia doesn't want that. You see, so Europe fears Russia very, very much, and Europe has engaged on several World War I, World War II. So they really don't have much. So their biggest players is US. So why are they now doing this to US? So you see, it's really crazy.
Politician, but I was always involved in politics, and I understood politics. I said 25 years ago that NATO's a paper tiger, but more importantly, that we'll come to their rescue.
You know what it means to be a paper tiger? Paper tiger. Hi. Come on.
But they will never come to ours. And I want you to remember that we said this. They didn't come to our rescue. Now they all want to help. When they're annihilated, the other side is annihilated, they said, we'd love to send ships. They actually made a statement, a couple of them, that we want to get involved when the war's over. No, it's supposed to get involved when the war's beginning, or even before it begins. We had the UK say that we'll send This is 3 weeks ago. We'll send our aircraft carriers, which aren't the best aircraft carriers, by the way. They're toys compared to what we have. But we'll send our aircraft carrier when the war is over. I said, oh, that's wonderful. Thank you very much. Don't bother. We don't need it.
You know, it's like it's like trying to help someone when he's almost done with the work. It's terrible, because why the help? I needed you when the war started. I needed you. Now I have done the major work. You've decided to show up in 10 minutes so that it will be recorded that you helped us. No. Since you did not come when the war began, even during the half time of the war, there is no need. Let it be known, recorded in history, that NATO did not help us, you see. And if you have not subscribed to Johnwood Network, click that button, subscribe, and also click on the bell so that whenever we upload video, you would get a notification. You will get a notification.
And we don't need it, and we don't need them. We estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission, and we're way ahead of schedule. If you look at what we've done in terms of the destruction of that country, I mean, we're way ahead. Think of it, they have no navy, and they had good ships. 154 ships have been shot down and are resting very nicely at the bottom of the sea. And we did that in a matter of less than a week. Because we have the greatest military in the world by far, nobody even close.
The way Trump brags about American, military is something else. I don't know. He has this confidence in American military, and I love that. If you check, they are really strong. Yes, they are really strong, and they do have what it takes to fish out their enemy. They do have what it takes to fish out their enemy. They are very strong. That's not bluffing. He's not bluffing at all. He's telling you the facts.
So we estimated it would take approximately 4 to 6 weeks to achieve our mission. 26 days in, we're really a lot ahead of schedule. The Iranian regime is now admitting to itself that they have been decisively defeated. They're saying to people, this is a disaster. They know it. That's why they're talking to us. They wouldn't talk otherwise. But they're talking to us because they've got a disaster in their hands. They're defeated. They can't make a comeback. We're free to roam over their cities and towns and destroy all of their crazy nuclear weapons and missiles and drones that they're building. And we're doing that. They now have a chance to make a deal, but that's up to them. And they'll tell you, we're not negotiating. We will not negotiate. Of course they're negotiating. They've been obliterated. Who wouldn't negotiate? They are begging to make a deal. We'll see if we can make the right deal. And if they make the right deal, then the strait will open up. Hormuz Strait will open up. And
this Hormuz Strait, it has actually affected the world. Tell me, do you have petroleum in your country? Many countries are suffering from it. Many countries are suffering from, blackout as well. So just tell me just tell me in that comment section, tell me your country, what is going on in your country. Is this war affecting your own country? You can put down in the comment section. Is it affecting your country? What are the things that you are seeing that the war has affected? Is it petroleum, the lights, blackouts? So tell me, because it's affecting the world. Quite all right, it's affecting the world. In China, they queue up now for petroleum. You see? So tell me.
even now, we don't know if there are any mines. They have 22 they call mine droppers. Think of it. Who would have 22 mine droppers? This is a boat that drops mines. Who has 22 mine droppers? Except for people with very evil intention. So
Actually, they are using this. This has it actually be a weakness to US. You know, that of the Strait of Hormuz, because that mine is terrible. Like, it's really dealing on US. You know, Trump has to admit that it's only the evil-minded people that can do that. There's no way. The thing there is that you will not come to somebody's house trying to wreck it, and the person will be looking at you, say, "Oh, go on, wreck it, wreck it, wreck it." No. The person is going to fight back. At least, even though the person knows that you are stronger than him, he's going to fight back. He's going to fight back with the little weapons he possesses. You know, at least to create a damage. He knows that, okay, you do a greater harm, but at least I would leave you also with injuries and all that, so that you will remember, with the scars, you will remember that we did this to you. So you don't expect them to look at you and be looking at you and say, "Oh, you can take over the Strait of Hormuz." No, it's not possible.
every one of those mine droppers has been struck with the same weapon we used to stop drugs from coming into the United States of America. When we hit those boats, it's the exact same weapon, extremely effective. We have unlimited supplies and extremely effective. But they now have the chance, that is Iran, to permanently.
We'll stop here. Please do subscribe to our channel. And if there are things maybe you'd want us to comment on, you can actually, you know, share that with us. You can share that with us. The link, you can comment on it. You know, bring details on what you would love to hear. Okay, what you would love to hear. See you next time.